Hello and welcome all to episode 83 of the Drowning in Pools podcast. With me, my co-host, Derek!
And Mr. Urban Buddha, holy fuck. Let's get this intro already, holy shit.
Fuck, I was just waiting for Derek to say hi.
Yeah, we don't need all that shit. Everybody knows who we are.
Alright, cool. What'd you guys do this week?
I played Odin Sphere, left razor, or whatever the fuck it's called. Some shitty Scandinavian word that won't exist in 25 years when that country is destroyed.
Subtle as always.
Left the razor.
It's really good. It's a vanillaware game, which I don't really play too many of those.
Okay.
But I mean, I was telling Cameron this. It really does feel like the better Indivisible.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like the feeling is like the feeling that this game kind of nails is what Indivisible is going for. Like the little individual parts, of course, are different. Like the actual combat system is different, but for the most part, like the way the story works and the way you kind of move around the map and the way the characters are designed and the way the story is structured. Well, the story is structured in a kind of weird way, but for like each character, for like each little, like the way Indivisible works is that each kind of character has their own little story. Here in Odin Sphere, each character has the same thing, but it's based on like the timeline of events in the story, as opposed to just picking a character, going to his town, and doing a story.
Okay.
But the combat's really fun, at least for now. I hear that it like near the end, it turns into absolute bullshit. But I think this kind of remastered version fixes a lot of stuff. But right now it's fun. The way just hitting shit with a sword feels good. I got to like the third playable character, and she uses like an arbalist, which is like a giant crossbow, which is a little weird to use because it's based on ammo instead of just firing your magic thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little jarring to go from being able to swing your sword an infinite amount of times and just spam it all over the screen to you can only fire like a limited amount of times. It's forcing you to slow down and like take stock of what you're doing.
Pick your shots properly.
Pretty much. But I mean, yeah, it's all good so far. The story is like whatever. It's kind of like it's based on like Norse mythology, so everybody's kind of getting ready for Ragnarok at this point. Everybody's just kind of going to war for because everybody's freaking out about the end of the world, so everybody's kind of going to war to try to fix this shit before it all comes down crashing.
Everyone has their own way that they think they can fix it.
Kinda, because each one has like each kind of kingdom or whatever that you're looking at has like their own like specific problem, and usually that problem is exacerbated by like one of the other kingdoms who needs to fix their problem. So like Odin is trying to basically have like essentially what is a nuke. He's trying to be able to have a nuke to basically deter anyone from fucking with his kingdom or whatever. But to do that, he had to steal it from the elves, and the elves need this weapon because it generates like energy for them that basically lets them live.
So instead of a weapon, they use it as life.
Right. Yeah. So when Odin realizes they can just generate energy, he's like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna use it as a weapon." He goes to this whole thing to steal it. There's a bunch of other stuff like that, like the actual the overall kind of story beats are interesting, but some of the stuff is like the very first character you play as she's like a Valkyrie, and her whole thing is the whole thing about Valkyries is like once they fail in battle, they get like stripped of their Valkyrie rank and they're forced to just be somebody's wife. So that kind of happens to her in this game, but like after that, it kind of turns into a romance thing as opposed to a war thing, and it turns into like a war romance thing. And there's like long scenes where she's talking to like her new arranged husband or whatever, and it's like, man, these two have known each other for like 2 seconds and they're already like in love and shit. So I wasn't really feeling too much of that. I was glad when that was over. I was glad whenever we were just kind of doing shit.
Yeah.
So, but whenever I just kind of get to run around and fight shit, it's fun. So I can kind of put up with like the more annoying kind of typical fantasy shit for the more like fun stuff. You know, fighting like there's a baby dragon that the first time you meet it, you don't really like. It still has like the top half of its egg on its head, right? But on top of that part of the egg is also a crown, and I'm like, how the fuck did that even get there? And then you kind of figure out like the next story thing you play later on, you figure out how the dragon was born and how it got the crown on its head and everything.
Okay.
So it's weird interconnectivity shit like that, but it's all fun. It's all good so far.
Okay.
I also played. Wait, did I play anything else? Played more Hades. Yeah, I think I really was just playing mostly Odin Sphere. I was probably trying to, like, I ended up getting. I think I dropped like nearly 20 hours into it, and I bought the game probably like Thursday or Friday.
That's not bad. That means it's decent for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'll just sit here and play it for fucking hours and hours. Because it's kind of tough to put down, and the gameplay feels so fun. You're like, I don't really want to put it down right now. You know,
Okay.
I have to literally be falling asleep at my desk for me to want to put it down. Mostly just because I want to fucking get through it. Also, I want to get because there's one character that they're hinting at that you can probably play as, because each character that you can play as has this thing called like a cipher, which is like a magical jewel that you can use as a weapon. And throughout the story, you meet other characters with ciphers, and they're pretty much, it becomes obvious those are the characters that you will be playing. And there's one character who I'm stupid excited to play as because he's fucking awesome. And I've basically I've never had a chance to really play him. I've just fought him a bunch of times, so I'm excited for that. I'm trying to get to that. But yeah, I think that was it for playing. I watched the Dragon's Dogma anime on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Let me hear. Is it
alright.
worth watching?
It's a big advertisement for playing Dragon's Dogma.
Which is a good game.
Yeah. This is not a good anime though.
Not a good anime.
It's not like a terrible pile of shit, but it's very shallow.
So it's a typical anime.
Not even that. It's like, at least a typical anime has like, I don't know, like a real story. You know, this
gotcha.
kind of doesn't feel like the main character could not be more generic.
It's like the main character is go play Dragon's Dogma.
Exactly. He's just some guy who lost his wife and kid or whatever, right? And they give him like a backstory, but it's such a general backstory that you're like, yeah, you can just apply this to any fucking character, right? And then it's weird that they made this as mature as it is, because there's titties in this. There's like weirdly like it starts off as like a kind of just violent kind of like fantasy thing, and you think it's, and it kind of acts like it's kind of gonna be like the kind of Castlevania show where that's basically just all violence, right? There's not really much sexuality in it except for in like season 3, but that season sucks. This, I did not expect there to be so much weird sexual stuff in this.
The tension is palpable.
It was like, I was saying like episode, what was it, like episode 2 or 3?
You said 3.
They run into like this group, like these 2 knights, and then like this wife and this husband and wife. They're all getting accosted by like a fuck ton of goblins, and the first thing the goblins do is pull the chick off the horse, start pulling all her clothes off.
That's so weird.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like it looks like they're just gonna like kill her or whatever, right? But then like take her top off, and I'm like, are they about to rape this chick? What kind of fucking show is this?
Ugh.
But it starts getting it
starts getting good about that time.
It gets weirdly dark. Like every episode is named after like a sin, right? Like one of the 7 deadly sins, and the whole base of it is like, it's each one is how humans are kind of like fucked up and evil or whatever, right? So every episode, it's like, we defeat whatever the monster is, right? And it seems like everything's going all right, and then like at the last second it goes left, and one of the fucking people turns out to be evil and kills somebody, right? So in the one with the husband and wife and the 2 knights, the husband is like a huge pussy, and the wife she's kind of sick of his weakness because they were going to be wealthy, but then their town got destroyed, so now they're going to be nothing.
Yeah.
So when she sees the main character, and when he shows up and kills all those goblins, she sees him. She's like, "Oh, a fucking man." So she starts flirting with him, and her husband kind of finds out, and then they get attacked by goblins again, and then they get attacked by a griffin, and a whole bunch of shit's going down. So the husband finally realizes, he kind of mans up and kills a bunch of goblins, and then his wife's like, finally, and he's like, yes, finally, you've awoken something in me, and then he fucking stabs her in the stomach, and it's like, okay. And he's like, now you'll never leave me. And everyone goes, you fucking moron. She was totally into you when you were killing those demons. You just had to be a man, right? And it's if it wasn't so like, it like, to me it's fucking hilarious, right? Because I'm a cynical psychopath, and like just the randomness of this dude suddenly going crazy and then killing her, like. I thought it was fucking hilarious. The show wanted to be more serious than it was. The two knights were literally just like, man, what the fuck do we do now? We're supposed to escort these fucking idiots to town, but he killed her now, and then like he kills himself. Like every episode kind of ends like that, where the day is saved, and then one character just kind of decides, you know what? I'm evil now.
Fuck this day.
There's one about like they fight this lich who has all this gold, right? And it made him crazy and made him evil. So the two knights show back up again, and they help the main characters fight the lich. And then the gold turns one of the knights into a crazy evil guy. So he kills his like childhood best friend to get his hands on the gold, and then the place collapses around them. It's so crazy.
So being a lich wasn't evil enough. The money had to make him evil.
It's like the money was like what was crazy. It was
like, oh yeah, lich, evil. Nah, he's not evil. It's the money that made him evil.
And like, it's so weird the way it happens, because there's like tiny little hints that the person could be kind of fucked up, but it's usually meant to just parallel how like the heroes are feeling at the time. Mm-hmm. But then once we get to like near the end of the episode, the guy will start telegraphing that he's about to turn evil, because they'll stop talking, the camera won't really show their face, and then they'll start talking in a low tone in their voice, and you're like, ah, shit, here it comes.
Here it comes. Where the HP bar is about to show up.
Right, yeah, yeah, the boss bar. He like kills his buddy or whatever, and then the main character goes through like this weird transformation. The best part probably is the main character in his relationship with his pawn, who is like his assistant essentially,
basically a squire. Yeah,
and she goes from being like this emotionless, kind of uncaring person who only wants to kill this dragon to being, like a caring, kind person,
like a human or some shit. I don't know.
Right, and then the main character goes from being a human, a kind, caring guy, to just a rage monster. And like in one episode, she gets killed, quote unquote, and then his eyes just kind of glow red, and he kills this Hydra with like his bare hands. I guess it was like a conveniently timed rage mechanic that I think only showed up in like one other episode until the end, where it actually matters. But the coolest thing about the show does is it actually has pretty good action scenes. Like whenever there's no action scenes, the characters look weird and stiff, but whenever action actually happens, it's pretty good. This is like a 3D animated show as well, so I was surprised if the animation was as good as it was. But
okay.
I mean, this show is just. Well, so the good thing it does is at the end of every episode, they kind of hint at what the next monster is going to be, and every hint is good, and it gets you hyped for what's next, because it's just cool.
Okay.
But this is like, if you don't know if you want to play Dragon's Dogma, maybe check this out. But I kind of wouldn't waste my time. It's like 7 episodes, I think.
Did you like it?
I guess, but I wouldn't watch it again or nothing. You know?
Okay.
I probably wouldn't rush to watch season 2 if that ever happened.
It wasn't a waste of time, but it wasn't like worthwhile either.
I wouldn't say it wasn't a waste of time, but
of course you wouldn't.
because ultimately I came away with it feeling like I kind of got nothing out of it.
I got you.
You know,
Okay.
just the ending is kind of like, yeah, no shit. You know, like it's so obvious what's gonna happen at the end. Kind of like exactly what happens isn't obvious, but like, you know, the fact that the dragon is kind of just fucking with him for no reason. You're like, oh well, the dragon clearly just wants to die or something. You know, because it's like it literally like it kills his wife and kid, and then it pulls his heart out, and then it's like, be mad, bro. Later. Come fuck with me if you want to fuck with me, and he goes to his lair or whatever and waits for the main character to come find him.
Okay.
But it ends up just being like, hey man, I just really wanted to die, and he basically explains how if you kill a dragon, you'll become a dragon, and the only way to avoid the dragon's curse is to not kill the dragon. He even foreshadows that by like he doesn't really tell the main character what the deal is when he first meets him, but he goes, if you stare into the abyss will stare back. And that I thought that was just kind of like a, you know, whatever corny you become the monster line, and you know that would become obvious, like he would start to become consumed by his revenge and all that shit, and then you know that happened, that exactly happened, and then he becomes a dragon monster at the very end. So, but you know, it's whatever. If you like Dragon's Dogma,
You'll like the anime.
probably not actually,
Oh.
because it's too it's very vague, very like generalized, very like shallow, not very in depth on all that stuff. Like it kind of, I don't know, skirts a lot of these ideas, but doesn't explore them too deeply. Like they set up like a succubus, but then the succubus episode is weird because the succubus shows up and then the main character just kind of chokes her to death, and that's it. She like tries to fuck him by pretending to be his dead wife, and then he just chokes her to death. And that was like the entire episode. The real point of the episode was to like explain his backstory or whatever. But anyway,
Nice.
I also watched a kung fu flick where everybody I like died, and it was like a good movie or whatever. But the most interesting thing I got out of it was there was this palace that was made specifically just to like trap somebody in and kill them. Basically, it would trap them in, and then the sides would open up outside, and like gas or whatever, like oil would fall all along the walls, and then it would just burst into flames and kill everybody inside.
Okay.
Super crazy, cool design.
Okay.
Like apparently the guy spent like 25 years building it to kill the king. It's super weird, super cool though.
Interesting.
There's a girl in there who like she's like a teenager, but she has this massive sword, and she has this cool fighting style where she kind of just like swings her arms around really hard and uses the momentum to swing the sword. But she fucking dies because she was cool. Then this slave chick who is pretty cool. She like cuts her hair super short, and like she wants to kill one of the main characters because he's part of this army or whatever, but then she ends up falling in love with him or whatever. She's pretty cool, but then she dies. Pretty much all the women in this die.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
I'm not usually one of those guys who harps on that kind of shit, but it really was just like the women only existed in this to be like props for the men to get fucked up over.
That's so saddening.
This movie also had one of the craziest character deaths where they spend like a good 15-20 minutes kind of setting a character up as like the main character's friend, and then basically like 5 minutes into their like kind of adventure, like into their quest to go to the city, dude gets attacked by a giant scorpion and killed. and the main character goes, wait, are we gonna go back and look for him? And the other guy's like, no, he's dead. And they just move on with it. They move on with their adventure and never mention the guy again. And like the way he dies is so sudden and weird that you kind of feel like he has to come back. You know, he had lines and dialogue earlier. He had a name, and he was clearly going to be a character, so he has to come back. And then he just never comes back.
The funniest, that is probably like the best thing, is you see that one person. He's given a name. Why is he given a name?
Yeah.
I could have done without knowing that dude's name if he's not
Right.
just gonna do anything.
It was like he like they made it seem like he was going to do something, right? But then he
best friend number 6.
he just dies. And it's not even like that's what I mean. Like the women are just here as props, because when that dude died, no one really gave a fuck. No one was like, I will get revenge on your behalf or anything, or nobody started crying or mourning his death. They just moved on.
They just moved.
Then no one gave a shit. It was super weird.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I hate that as a plot hook. Like,
yeah.
Oh, let's just kill just the women because you can't have romances. No, that's not a thing.
Dude, it's all about romances.
Cause even the short haired chick who gets killed, she just kind of gets killed for no reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she gets killed in a way that, like, if it were one of the male characters, they wouldn't have died. 100%. They just killed her off just for the sake of killing her off. You guys know those, like, Japanese lion dogs you see, like, the statues of everywhere?
Yeah.
So this movie has one of those. And at first I was like, what the fuck is that? Because I couldn't tell if it was a lion, and I couldn't tell if it was a dog, and it wasn't a bear. So I was like, it was like a big CGI monster animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't tell what it was at first, but it was like just a kind of realistic looking version of one of those lion dogs.
Okay.
Which it was pretty cool looking.
What's the movie called?
I have no fucking clue. Because
I have no fucking. I'm kidding.
I was just scrolling around Netflix and I saw a movie that looked kind of good, like martial arts wise, and I didn't pay attention to the name for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably put it on the description somewhere or whatever in case anybody really gives a shit. But you know, it was a good movie, sorta. It was exciting. It wasn't. Because I thought it was just going to be... The premise is like they have to go to a martial arts tournament to kind of have a contest before this war breaks out. And at first I thought it was just going to be straight, like, fighting tournament. But no, it's like obstacles and shit like that while you're also fighting. So it was a little more interesting than just a fighting tournament.
Okay.
But if I remember what it is, I'll put it down in the thing. It was good, though. It was on Netflix. It was just kind of... these characters could have been a little bit better, I think. Like the slave girl had so much like good shit going on. She was even like so when she gets freed, she goes back to like the cells where she was freed from. She frees all the other slaves. She beats up the slave guy, and then she like lays down in the slave like cage, and she realizes like it wasn't the cage that was holding her. Like it wasn't literally the cage that was holding her in. It was like the hatred in her heart that was her cage. And that's how she ends up forgiving one of the characters for like killing her father or whatever.
Interesting.
So there's like interesting stuff there, you know, but they just kind of chose to ignore it for the other characters. There's the other character I like, the chick with the big sword. She was called like Miss Yang or something like that because when her mother died, her mother didn't like name her or anything. She didn't give her a first name, so she just had her mother and father's last name.
Okay.
And everyone just called her Miss Yang or whatever. But she was like, I don't really care about learning what my real name would have been. I'm kind of just cool worrying about the future because she just wants to have like her name written down in the annals of history, so she'll be forever important. But you know, she's this like really good character who, despite being young, she's very like she helps these two characters, like one guy who's just obsessed with killing this general who fucked him over a long time ago, and the main character's just like kind of just this nobody. He wants to know who his parents are, but he's also like kind of bullshitty with it, and she kind of helps them through stuff. She kind of helps them like open up and be real people, and then she just gets killed.
Gotcha.
It's so unfortunate.
Unfucking fortunate.
That was it. That was basically all I did.
Have you seen Ninja Assassin Deshaun?
I believe so. Yeah, I have. Yeah,
that movie was terrible, but had some fun stuff.
It had like really good ideas, but
it was absolutely
it was executed really badly.
I think the best scene of the whole thing was the bathroom fight where he beats the dude to a pulp in a white suit.
Yeah.
And like pissed because he's cleaning his jacket off and can't get the blood off.
Like I do like that Ninja Assassin, the main character, uses like sort of unique weapons.
Yeah,
you know, he uses like that blade on a chain or whatever at the end in the end fight. The weapon that the guy he's fighting is that weapon of the guy he's fighting is stupid though. It's like a sword, but it's like Darth Maul's lightsaber, like it's a double bladed sword, like katana or whatever. Yeah. But only one blade comes out at a time.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So it was like he would like spin the blade one way, and then the blade would shoot out, and then he kind of split it the other way, and then the other blade would shoot out, and the other blade would go back in, and you'd be like, okay, well, what's the fucking point of this weapon then? Because at no point does he use it like a ninja would, where he, you know, he's being like blocked or whatever. He switches the blade out and stabs him with the other side. He just kind of spins it around to intimidate a guy who couldn't be intimidated by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I was just curious because I just remembered I was looking through the movies trying to find maybe which one it was, and Ninja Assassin came up. I'm like, I remember that.
I remember the movie. Everybody used to like that. Everybody loved that movie. It was getting like awards and shit.
Ninja Assassin?
Yeah.
Really?
It got like some kind of, I want to say MTV Movie Award or some shit like that.
I could probably because the music or the fights coordinating with the music and whatnot, something like that.
I remember the dude who's like he's like a Korean pop star. I remember him going up on stage and getting an award, and he goes, "I've always wanted to say this. Why so serious?" And it had nothing to do with anything. It was just him saying it, completely contextless.
Well, you know what? I watched some shit this week too for once in my life.
Oh, did
so
you?
I went on a road trip with some friends.
Oh, okay.
And
Where'd you go?
I just went down to a friend's house. So and further deeper into Florida.
But
We just
why?
hung out. What?
I said, but why?
To hang out.
Deep into the swamps of Florida.
Yeah.
To get attacked by alligators. But yeah. So we watched. We finished up God of High School. We watched one episode of that. I'm already caught up, so I just need to watch the newest episode that came out. I think on Saturday or whenever. But we got caught up on Misfit of Demon Academy. That last episode made me fucking laugh, but it was so bad.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't like the story was bad. It was just some of the beats of it. I'm just like, that makes no sense. But I enjoyed that show all in all. I think that was the last episode
Like ever or of the season?
of the season, and I don't think they're getting another season.
Okay. Good. That means I can stop hearing about this anime now.
You can, but you know what anime I've just watched all in one night because I fucking love it?
Bo Furry, please don't body my asshole. So I'm raising
Bo
my
Furry,
defense.
don't body me, so I'm maxing out my defense.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense.
I saw the cover image or whatever this is of the light novel this is based on, and it's like a little girl holding a shield.
Yeah.
Remember when we were having that talk about how a lot of stuff starts at 0 for me? This is starting at like a -5.
That's fine. This anime would only get to like a 4 for you, probably. This anime is 100% a 9 for me. It covers everything I like about video games and anime at the same time. I absolutely love this. I watched the first episode, hanging out with all of them. I got home yesterday, and last night I watched every single episode. From start
How many
to
episodes is
finish.
there?
There's 12.
Oh, okay.
So I watched 11 episodes after driving 9 hours. Just like, it's like, fuck this, I'm watching
Damn,
the
I must have
animes.
really like this shit.
It's literally one of my favorite animes right as of right now. It's not in my top 5. It's not in my top 5, but I love it. So the whole point is that she maxed out her defense and she sucks ass, but because of how the game works, she found things that worked together and broke the game multiple times. And
So the plot of every isekai video game thing essentially ever.
pretty much, but
Where guy finds a loophole in a thing, and now his special build is the most specialist.
the funniest thing is that every character is like that though. They all find special things that make them super fucking good.
So okay, so like at that point, I get like, you know, video game tropes or whatever, and making your show into like a video game thing and the appeal of that. But at some point, it's gotta just be easier to just make it a typical fantasy thing without adding in, you know, video game elements into it. At some point, it's just like, this is basically just a fantasy thing that we just kind of layered video game shit on top of because we need to fill holes in our writing.
I mean, kind of how it started anyways. It was just like, this is fantasy. Oh, right, this is a video game. Oh, this is all right, this is a video game.
Because
Like-
some stuff, you spend so much time in the fantasy that it just kind of stops even being a video game. You forget it's a video game.
The only time the main reason why I like the video game is because they bring up stats mostly. Like that's like a big thing about it, whereas like they look at stats a lot and they actually break down the numbers and shit. And I'm like, the first two times they did it, where it was like over dramatic and trying to explain to you that's a video game, I'm like, I get video games. I don't fucking need you to like baby me about how stat boosting works because it multiplies your one stat like this. But the person just maxed out our HP basically.
That's not even
And then
tanky.
no, but when you have armor that does things, it is tanky.
I hate when people do that shit.
Or they max out HP and they're like, oh, I'm tanky. No, you're not.
Yeah. My percentage
You have
HP
more
says
health
otherwise.
As soon as someone says, oh, I have a percentage HP hit,
Yeah.
I do 20% HP per hit. You can only get hit 5 times.
Right.
Good job.
Like, resistances exist for a reason, motherfuckers.
Yep.
Anyway.
But yeah. So like it goes through and talks about all that kind of that shit in the first couple episodes where I'm like, I get it. I don't care about it. But the funny thing is that like 4 or 5 episodes later, you're like, no. Pause the game. I want to read these fucking numbers. So like, there's just a lot of things like that where I'm just like, my favorite thing in video games that are not fighting games are gimmick builds. That's my favorite thing. Fighting games, hate gimmick builds, but any other video game, love them. And then, on top of that, all the other characters have their own gimmick builds, even the villains. The main hero, or the main villain, I should say, has a thing where his guild can all proc their installs, and then use a spell to give all the installs that are based on classes to one character.
Whoa.
So he gets
What was
Godspeed,
that, all for one, essentially.
pretty much something similar to that. So
Yeah.
like he goes into his like stance that's hard to hit because it takes forever to like charge up, and then he gets Godspeed, Berserk, and like something else all put on him at the same time. So he moves insanely
Yeah.
fast and has like True Strike basically.
Right. It's a fuck ton of damage problem.
AKA brings the main character his defense to 1 HP in a single
Yeah.
swing. But because Stout defend, she stays up. Then she does her one counter move, and he gets brought to 1 HP. Shit is fucking cool. I fucking love this anime. Oh, by the way, spoilers, but you guys already know this. Oh shit, fuck. Oh, but yeah, that I fucking love that anime. Like, there's a bunch of like little things and details here that I'm just like, I'm okay with this level of adorableness.
Yeah. Well, as long as somebody is.
I think Derek would like this anime.
They're probably like, yeah, because it's got cute shit in it.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of really adorable fucking shit in it.
I'd probably like it then.
Oh. And it's a girl who's never played video games before.
Of course. Why wouldn't it?
Of course it is. But the funny thing is like after the first 2 episodes, she's like, I dove super into it and read all the shit about this game pretty much.
So they stopped doing like fish out of water shit.
Yeah.
I honestly fucking hate fish out of water stuff in shows.
They basically do fish out of water stuff for like an episode or 2. And that was it. I think the funniest thing is that since it's a VR game, or like full body immersion game actually, because nerve gear and whatnot, she was in school and like trying to do stuff from the game in school because so she spent a whole week in the game and then went back to school and was like, oh fuck, what's real life?
Okay. That's like it's Sword Art Online. Kirito learns how to use a sword and shit in the game, like in certain ways. So
Yeah.
I think like in the real world, he starts doing kendo shit, and he starts doing like video game kendo shit.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's stupid, but then when you think about it, it's like, oh right, you're having full body
he's
immersion.
even going like he's even like saying the names of the moves and shit, and like moving his fingers and shit. It's just lame. It's dumb when he does it because it's cringy. It's like catching like your buddy doing like sword swings with like a toy sword, you know. And seem like Dragon Slash. And like you walk in on him like, hey buddy, what you doing? You a big fucking loser.
Being a big fucking yeah. But you know what? That kind of shit I would cheese up. I'm like, yeah, I am. You fucking best believe I'm doing some stupid shit.
You would have to if you didn't want to be fucking embarrassed about it.
Yeah, like
you have to own it.
Like if you're gonna do some stupid shit, you best believe you're gonna want to own that shit. If you try to go, oh no, nothing, that's
like, no man, I was just doing the video game thing.
At that point, you're lame. But if you're doing JoJo poses and making the moo-da-da-da.
JoJo fans don't give a shit. JoJo fans love that shit. They'll pose all day.
The poses are the best part, man.
We'll torture dance all the fucking. They'll torture dance on your fucking grave. See how funny it is then.
Moving on.
I just imagine a funeral where like everybody's a JoJo.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like, you guys, I just want you all to torture dance on my grave when I die. But yeah, so I watched that show. I fucking love that show. I can't say more praises about that show, except for Deshaun. Deshaun, you probably do not want to watch this show.
Probably not.
Although you may want to watch the fight scenes. They're actually animated pretty well.
Okay.
They have a so there's a part in it. Here's big spoilers, but there's a part in it where they have a mention of Dragon Ball Z and JoJo at the same time.
Okay.
So and they have a whole like Dragon Ball fight scene for a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting that.
That is the thing that kind of got me into, well, not got me into it, but like was like kept me kind of sort of interested in Hunter x Hunter, where it's when I was like, hey man, there's like sick type battles later, so you should check it out. You know, stick around.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Like
how that goes.
There's some really sick fights. Like, as much as the cute shit is around, there is some really fucking hype fights, and I'm just like, that I was not expecting that. So yeah, it's good. Anyways, so there's that. I've also played a shit ton of Smash. I suck at Smash, or the new Smash. I'm really bad at.
Did you try streaming it?
No.
You know, I hear that's harder than working a minimum wage job.
Yeah. Maybe if you have a shitty personality.
Maybe if you're a fucking dumbass spoiled brat.
Yeah. I mean, I will say streaming is difficult.
Yeah,
but like,
because you gotta sit there and play video games for an audience of people.
Well, it's just emotionally draining and whatnot.
Well, that's life, dog. Doesn't make it
Well,
hard.
yeah, like I was gonna say, like there's a difference between like, yeah, it's rough, and then there's like, oh shit, I can't pay my bills this week.
Right. There's my job sucks ass. And it's still not enough to pay the fucking bills, so I gotta work 2 more, and they also suck ass.
And then it's but like,
but you know, no, streaming Ultimate Smash Ultimate, you know what? That's so difficult. It's way harder than any kind of, you know, fucking coal mining job.
I was gonna say, like, I think if you have a bad community, then yeah, it's probably pretty shitty.
Yeah, well,
but
it's still not harder than a minimum wage job.
Probably not, because your community is your customers at that point.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and
boy.
And what the fuck is your community gonna do? The community can't fucking call your boss or yell at you. The community can just sit
can't
there and
throw
fucking
food at your face.
They can just sit there and get mad and chat. You know. You can't. You can block members of the community in a fucking streaming thing. You can't tell people who fuck on you at your store, who get mad at your store, that to fuck off and never come back. You know. That's not. You don't have the authority to do that.
Yeah,
But
that's
you know.
very...
But you know.
Again,
still harder though. Streaming is difficult. So hard.
Streaming is still. I will still say streaming is not an easy job, but I won't say it's like probably the hardest thing in the world. Definitely not that.
I wouldn't even call it hard. I would call it a task.
I would say
I would say
depends.
work has to go into it, but it's not fucking difficult.
Well, we also don't have anywhere near like the levels of responsibility as.
What
Bigger
responsibility does it take to turn on OBS and fucking
Not say some bullshit.
record some
that's
video
gonna-
games? Who
not-
gives a fuck?
A lot of people.
I don't,
surprisingly.
and you don't. Because if you really
Surprise-
cared, you wouldn't be on this podcast with me.
I do care, but
You don't.
I actually like I do, but you are also a good friend of mine, so I put up with it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how far that goes when the pitchforks and the torches are at your front door.
I'll be like, well, Deshaun lives that way.
He was way over there.
Streaming is a lot like music creation, where it is not necessarily a physically demanding task, but it is an extremely mentally demanding task, especially if you want to do it correctly or well.
Yeah.
And that's the main issue. Like, I can
But
go
again,
to work.
anything is like that, doing it correctly or well.
Well, no, because like fucking, I can go to work at Starbucks, and it doesn't take my mental capacity to do that. Like, I just listen and push buttons and make drinks, and that's it. Like, I can come home and still like read or do other shit. I'll be fucking tired as shit, but like, I'm not mentally tired. I'm physically tired. But when I'm streaming, especially what the fuck happened the last 2 days, like, I just want to never do anything again. It is the fucking worst.
I've never been there, but
Yeah, me neither. To me, if it's more physically demanding, then fuck all that mental shit. It's more difficult, you know, because the physical does affect the mental eventually.
I guess. I've always had a very good
I can-
separation for those. So mentally, it's more draining for me than physically. Because when I'm mentally drained, I'm physically drained. When I'm physically drained, it does not necessarily mean that I'm mentally drained.
You haven't been pushed hard enough then.
I don't. Neither one of those things really cross over for me. If I'm physically drained, fuck it, I'm tired, but I can still do whatever the fuck. Basically, if you press the hype button on the putt on me, I just revive. That's it. It just works.
I don't know. Physical for me is a lot easier to come back from, so it doesn't take as hard of a toll for me. Even if I worked, because I've worked 18-hour days before, you know, and like gone the fuck home and then woken up 4 hours later to do the same shit, and like I was physically tired, but like mentally I was not drained. I was still having a great time with my friends.
Yeah, I have very few issues as long as you press the hype button.
Again, you just gotta be pushed hard enough.
Yeah, I will say, physically drained and emotionally drained are both terrible places to be. Either side of the coin, it's just that's a terrible place to be.
Yeah. Still a bitch though.
Fuck off. All right. Anyways, I played. A shit ton.
I just never want to hear streamers complain about their fucking cake ass easy job. Like if you had to choose between playing fucking video games and making money off of it, or fucking doing a 9-to-5 at some fucking clothing store, what would you choose? You know.
That depends on
Video
how much I'm making streaming.
Video games.
I might choose the clothing store.
If you were going to make the same amount of money either way,
Oh, fuck
you'd
that.
probably
I'm
play
choosing the
video
clothing
games.
store. What the fuck?
What? No.
Yeah, absolutely.
you would rather do the clothing store than sit at your house and play video games.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely.
And do your own schedule and not have any bosses and not have to answer to anybody. You would rather take the clothing store.
Yeah,
You would rather suffer
Why?
through the
Why?
shittiest.
No, hold on. Why? Why?
Okay.
because, like, well, one, I just don't enjoy video games that much anymore.
Oh,
That's part one. But, like, part two is, like, streaming, again, for me, is significantly more draining than working a 9-to-5 at a clothing store. Not to mention, if I'm just going to be getting $12 an hour anyway, I'd rather be getting benefits. Or, like, potential
Wait,
for
what?
overtime.
You're not getting benefits at the clothing store.
Why not?
Why would you?
Why would you?
Because I'm working 9 to 5. That's 40 hours a week.
It's just a shitty clothing store though. So
you don't get benefits for just working 40.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do at my job.
You don't.
Starbucks might do that shit, but not every job is going to be doing that.
Very
shit.
few places do.
Very
that. And
few places do
on,
that shit.
On top of that, $12 an hour is a lot of money.
No, it's fucking not.
Well,
$12 an hour.
it's really not. The minimum wage should
okay,
be about
yeah.
like $15
Yeah,
because
let me
it hasn't
rephr-
been.
let me-
It's
let me rephrase
$7.50 right now, so it's fucked up.
I was gonna say, let me rephrase that. $12.50 is a lot more than minimum wage.
I mean,
No.
$40 an hour is a lot more than minimum wage. $12 an hour is not really that much more than minimum wage.
$12 an hour is
It's-
literally minimum wage
that's-
where I live. You guys have to remember I live in
still,
California.
That's right, because you live in California.
Right.
The $12 an hour is still not enough to like.
Live off. No, not at all.
You still have to find some other source of income.
it's
depending on where you
barely-
live. Yeah,
It's
like
barely enough. To live off of.
you're probably skipping a few meals and shit. You know.
Yeah.
And at that point, I would rather just work a regular 9 to 5. Like,
I wouldn't. I would rather just not have the stress of dealing with that extra bullshit. I would just.
Yeah.
I would rather just stay the fuck. Like I fucking hate movies, dude. But if I was making fucking, like, if I was gonna make $12 an hour doing movie reviews online, then I'd be doing some fucking movie reviews, dude. Because I don't want to fucking deal with other people's bullshit.
Also, it comes down to what your passion is. Like, if you're passionate about games and all that kind of stuff, then it would be much more fun to like put your mind to what you're passionate about versus a clothing store.
yeah, like, I don't have to give a shit about my job.
Okay, then here, let's put it this way. Since you don't like video games, would you rather like to be making $12.50 an hour gigging around your local area or work a 9 to 5?
$12.50 an hour? Fuck no. Fuck no. What? $12.50 an hour for gigging. You have to remember, I'm part of a 3-piece band, so that means we're making $4.50 an hour.
I think the assumption is that everyone would be making their own paycheck.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's what I mean.
Like 50
No one-
bucks. Like,
he didn't even. Yeah.
that's like $50 an hour. That's
Yeah.
like a fucking 30-minute gig, or if you play for like 3 or 4 hours, you're making like $600 or $700 for the band.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. You're making the normal same week-to-week paycheck that you would at a 40-hour job, but gigging instead.
No,
No?
I would rather have a regular job at that point, because then I can just gig on the side and do it because I like it, rather than because it's my job.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Like, if I'm not making enough to like live comfortably, because let's face it, minimum wage is not living comfortably,
No, it's not.
then I would rather just take a fucking job with like a different source, like a source that I'm guaranteed to have income from, you know? Like, I look at that as like, okay, I could theoretically be doing what I want, either streaming or like gigging or whatever, but like, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna be doing that, you know?
Well, okay, this is the hypothetical, though.
Yeah, but
He's lawyering his way out of this, so he doesn't have to say, "Yeah, I'd rather do fucking music, the thing I actually care about."
I
And
mean,
not work at a clothing store.
the thing for me is that in a perfect world, yeah, I would totally love to. But we don't live in a perfect world, and I know that I would get extremely demotivated and not want to do shit sometimes. And it's
Okay.
way easier for me to just like man the fuck up and go to work when
Go to
there's
work.
other people accountable.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'd rather be for like $12 an hour. I'd rather have someone be there and hold me accountable because I'm gonna have to be there and be accountable.
So it's not really about any of that other shit. It's about responsibility and the fact that you would rather just work somewhere where you're not dealing with all the responsibilities as opposed to having to take care of everything yourself.
Yeah,
It comes down to mental and physical, like we were talking about earlier.
it essentially boils down to like that, especially for that
You're-
little.
You'd rather be physically drained than mentally drained for that little bit of money.
Yeah. If I'm making like, you know, $100,000 a year, then like absolutely I'd rather be a streamer, or I'd absolutely rather be a songwriter or whatever. And like, I can totally deal with the depression that comes with that. But like, fucking, for $12 an hour, fuck no. That is like way too much responsibility for minimum wage.
Gotcha. Okay.
I still think that's fucking completely insane. I would rather just chill out and do fucking nothing. Yeah. Basically have fun and chill out instead
Yeah.
of, you know,
Same,
dealing
but
with some
like
capitalist corporate bullshit all the
then
time.
again, it's probably nowhere near as mentally draining as it is for us to do that.
I mean, to each his own, I guess.
Yeah.
To each
Oh.
his insane own.
There we go. I was waiting for it.
So, anyways, I was playing a bunch of Smash. And that
And you
game
were
was a
bad
lot
at
of
it.
fun. No, I'm not mad at it. I actually
No,
had a
you
lot
were
of
bad
fun.
at it.
Oh, I was bad at it. Yes, I was
Yeah.
very bad. Very bad at it. So turns out I just can't run when the game doesn't help me run.
What do you mean?
In Smash 4, if you hold the right side, you just immediately go into a sprint.
New Smash Ultimate?
No, Smash 4.
Ultimate?
No. So you got.
Wait, are you talking about 4 or Ultimate? Are you playing
4.
4 or Ultimate?
We're playing Ultimate. I was
Okay.
saying in Ultimate, you don't have run assist pretty much.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
4 you did.
Yeah, well, who cares about 4?
If you just press right, you'd run right.
Yeah.
So in Smash 4, if you just tap right, you would go into a sprint. In Ultimate, you do not. So I'll like tap right, expect my character to run, and then I just get a forward smash because I started trying to make myself run, and then I try to go dash dash, and then immediately do a dash attack, and instead I'll go walk forward, smash attack. And that is so bad, especially when you're playing a character like Ike, who has one of the slowest forward smashes in the game.
I mean, isn't that part of the package with Ike? Is slow bullshit. So, I mean, fucking it
mean-
up, you should just be like, well, I wasn't really going over there anyway. I was already too slow to get over there anyway.
I mean,
just suck it up. I fucked up. I'm supposed to get used to the controls.
Well, yeah, the whole point is it took me forever to even get kind of used to them. I'm still bad at it, but at the end I
That's the
started
kind of
getting...
situation where I would use a faster character just so I can get used to what the fucking buttons actually do
Yeah.
in a
Well, I mean,
quicker, you know. Because
I
with somebody
ended
like Ike, and like this, like I guess I could relate this to like other fighting games. Like, I wouldn't tell like someone who's just now playing like Tekken, I wouldn't tell them to jump on like Jack, because Jack plays weird. I wouldn't tell them to jump on like
You'd
King.
tell them to play like a Shoto or something.
Yeah, I told them to play like a more basic character so they could learn to play the game and then they could branch out to anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, so I played Yoshi and Peach a little bit. Peach, I can't play Peach.
Isn't Peach like a god in Ultimate?
Peach is super technical though. Like she's a god if you can do the technical
Okay,
shit.
okay. Yeah.
I don't know if she still has it, but she used to have like 100 to death. If she landed her combo, it's a full true string combo that would kill.
Okay.
Or I should say 0 to
Smash.
death. Not 100 to death, 0 to death. But yeah, so there's that. Then we went over to Mario Party, where
friendships were ended.
friendships were ended. I should have won though, but my fucking bitch ass friend was like, "Fuck it, you gonna be making fun of me the entire game? I'm gonna steal the 1 star you need to win." He could have gotten second if he stole a different star, but instead.
That to me is the most fascinating part of like Mario Party games. Like the guy who decides, I'm not gonna win, but you aren't either, motherfucker.
So
And
he
they do
ended
everything
up
they can fuck you up.
he ended up getting third on the last like 3 turns because he's like, instead of getting second, I will take third, but bring you down with
Yeah.
me. So at the beginning of the game, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get 8 stars, and you're only gonna get 2. The first 2 turns, I had 2 stars. The next 2 turns, I had 4 stars. It was looking like it was an easy wrap up. It was 3 of us and a CPU. And the CPU decided that he was just not going to grab a star. Even though he was on very hard, he was just like, I'm just not going to get the star right now. I'm going to wait till later. And my mentality was like, okay, I'm going to actually think about the game. The CPU is probably going to go grab the star right now. So if I go this way, I can wrap around quicker. So when the star moves, I can go get it. And then he just doesn't get the star. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And that screwed me out of 2 stars immediately. And then from there, it was downhill.
Which Mario Party is this?
The one for the Switch.
Did one come out for the Switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the old Mario Party brought to the Switch with
Okay,
a couple
okay.
extra things, I believe.
Because I was gonna say they haven't put out a new Mario Party game in like forever, like a genuinely like brand new one. I don't think.
Yeah, like
The newest one was like a release on this, like release title on the Switch, I think, was Super Mario Party.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's the one we played.
What's it? All right.
I think I'm kind of upset that they don't have very many like competitive mini games. I mean, they're all competitive, but there's no like who can mash the fastest, who can do like physically the best. Everyone has like a fair chance, and I'm like, man, that's upsetting. There was no games where I could be like, I beat your ass because of my skill alone. I miss those games.
Is anyone like good at Mario Party?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
but the people who just fucking play the game all the fucking time and know all the mini games in and out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, does anyone just pick this shit up and be like, oh, I get it, and just completely like destroys it instantly? It's just like naturally good at it.
Yeah.
Not even like luck, just like I read the board correctly. I kind of assume, like, does anyone ever just kind of get it off the bat? I feel like everybody's fucking, you either get beginner's luck or you fumble and bumble through the fucking game.
I think it's all fumble and bumble, and then the way you win is if you're good at the game, you just know what bonus stars will be at the end, so you kind of shoot for those.
That's true.
And that's how you kind of get the win, more or less. Is you're like, okay, I won the mini game, so I got the mini game star. I also knew that I had to eat as many items as possible to have the chance of getting that star.
You just start kind of going for like the record stuff and being like, that person did the most of this and all this shit. Just so you can get
who landed on the most unique spaces, stuff like that. Or like you can't get to the star, so you'll go a different direction that'll land you on a random space, so that way you get that. But yeah, now that game is like Mario Party is always fucking hella fun.
Not Mario Party DS.
Not Mario Party DS, and not the one where you're all in the same cart. That one is stupid.
What is that one?
There's one where like everybody's in the same cart and you roll to move everybody at once.
Oh, that's nice.
And instead of going separate ways, everyone goes together, and you have to you get stars as you go, pretty much.
So everybody just kind of moves along and plays the mini games at the same time and moves at the same time. Yeah, that kind of defeats that takes out like a level of the competition, level of like the planning.
But yeah, no, the game's a lot of fun. We're thinking about getting Dolphin so we can play it on stream all together.
Nice.
Good luck.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
Getting that shit to not necessarily Dolphin, but like getting
But all those people.
well, and like all the multiplayer, like the Wi-Fi shit to work. Good luck.
Yeah, it's gonna be a task, but we're gonna try. So yeah, that was a good time. We also played DC Deck Builder. That game is one of the best card games ever made. It's basically Slay the Spire, but PvP. Do you know what Slay the Spire is, Deshaun?
Yeah.
Okay.
You spent like 30 minutes trying to convince me it was a game that I might want to play, and I was like, no, Cameron, that's never going to happen.
It's so much fun, though.
I'm sure.
For people who like puzzle games.
Yeah.
Like me. It's a good time. Do you like DC? No, you're a Marvel person, aren't you?
No.
You're DC?
You always talk
Comic
about
books
DC.
person. I am now more of a DC person, but
Than ever
I'm really
before?
just a comic book person in general. Give me a good comic book and I like it.
I
you
got
know?
you. Well, there's a lot of cool references in the cards, though, for
Well,
that
you said,
game.
So you said when you said DC deck builder, you really meant like DC characters.
characters.
I
deck
thought
building
like
game.
DC stood for something else. Like I thought
No,
it was like
no.
maybe like Dragon something or some shit.
No, DC Deck Builder is literally DC characters. Like
Dragon
Flash.
Okay, that's actually super weird that you're
And-
playing this game.
It's so much fun, and so the thing is that every character has their own superpowers, and all the cards make references to what they can do in the game and whatnot. There is the Green Lantern, right?
Is it completely useless?
He is completely useless. But
Yeah, that's appropriate.
But hold up. But if you get the Green Lantern card and 3 power rings, you instantly win the game.
What?
Yup.
There is no situation where 3 Green Lanterns would ever be able to win anything.
No, not 3 Green Lanterns. You get
Just
1
the
Green
rings.
Lantern what's his name? The guy
Oh,
who gets
well.
the 3 Green Lanterns to become the White Lantern. What the fuck?
Kyle Rayner?
Yeah, you get Kyle Rayner, and then you play 3 3 power rings on him,
Okay, that makes sense.
or 3 lantern rings.
Because the stupid thing is like the more Green Lanterns you have, it seems like the weaker they are. But the more
Yeah.
rings one guy has, the more powerful he becomes.
Yeah, no. So you have to play Kyle Rayner and 3 rings on the same turn.
Okay.
It's like Exodia.
Except
funny.
not at all.
Except not. Yeah.
Well, it's four pieces instead of 5.
It's more like a Final Destiny or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's- yeah,
Because that
that's
one
like
you actually
Final
have to play. Exodia,
Yeah.
you don't.
Exodia you have to have in your hand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is the same thing as this because you can play every card in your hand without questioning.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you just have to play. You have to play Kyle Rayner and 3 power rings, and then he becomes God, and you win the game. No matter
Destiny
what,
Board is what's
you
called.
just win.
Really? Okay.
So like, there's all kinds of references to stuff like that.
Even if you have the almighty Superboy Prime card,
Almighty Superboy Prime does.
not
he
exist, I bet.
no, it exists. Well, I don't know if Superboy Prime exists. It might
I
not.
doubt it.
But there's all kinds of crazy shit like that.
Superboy Prime would have to be the single most broken character of all.
He might just be a villain card, to be
I wouldn't be
honest.
surprised.
It might be a super villain card. But yeah, the game has a lot of cool little references and stuff like that. Royal Flush is in the game. If you get all 5 and you can play all 5 in one turn, you basically just are fucking badass and can buy whatever the fuck you want in the game. Because when you play 1 Royal Flush, it does nothing. If you play 2, you get to draw a card and you get 1 power, which allows you to buy stuff. If you play 3, that card gets 3 power or 2 power and 1, and then so on and so forth until you play all 5 in one turn. You just basically have all the power you want to get whatever the fuck you want.
Okay. Any challengers of the unknown cards? I doubt
Might
it.
be in some of the expansions, but I only
I
played.
highly doubt it. They're like some of the most weirdly obscure fucking characters ever.
Gotcha. But yeah, there's just the game is, in my opinion, is one of my it's fucking good. Okay, god damn it.
Like a just straight up good card game, regardless
is.
of what characters are on the card. It's just a good
Yes.
ass card game.
It is just a good, like, it plays just really well. And there's all different types of it. So there's like Adventure Time versions, there's Street Fighter versions, there's Cartoon Network versions. And yeah, it's just well made.
That's cool.
Good concepts. I will force you to play it at some point.
Okay. I'll play it because it's DC comic book stuff. If it was
Yeah.
just like if it was like Magic the Gathering, I'd shit and
No.
piss all over it.
Yeah, but so it's like there's a Teen Titans version, there's your main 6 versions, there's your
Your main
it-
6 ponies.
no Justice League.
My
Like,
Little Pony.
No,
The main 6.
The main 6 Justice League people.
I mean the main 7 Justice League people.
It's the main 7 Justice League people. Yes.
Supposed to be. I think there's only 6 in like the movies and shit because they fucked up on their marketing. It was because the original marketing for Justice League the movie was Unite the 7, and they ended
There's
up
only 6 people on the
There's
poster.
only 6 superheroes because Green Lantern never made it into the movies. Or no, I think it was supposed to be Martian Manhunter. He never made it into the movies for whatever
Gotcha.
reason.
Okay.
So.
He was stuck on Mars.
Yeah, stuck in Zack Snyder's sketchbook.
He's stuck in a fire loop. But yeah, no. So like the first is like Batman, Green Lantern, all that. The second group is Blue Beetle, Gold,
Booster
whatever
Gold.
Booster Gold, yeah.
Yeah.
And like those extended people.
If,
Third
if
group,
ever you see Blue Beetle, Booster Gold is not too far behind.
yeah. So it's that group, and then the next one is the Teen Titans, and then so on and so forth. It's just a cool game, man. And then there's the villains version, which you get to play as the villains as your heroes instead of the heroes.
What side does Harley Quinn fall on?
Usually villain.
Okay.
And then in the villain, she's one of your hero peoples that you get to play as. And yeah. So we played that. That was good. We then we drove back, talked a bunch of anime, watched a bunch of anime, and yeah, that was basically my week. Oh, last thing I want to talk about is I played 10 minutes of, and I'm going to play the shit out of, is Genshin Impact.
Where'd you download that from?
The website.
Cool.
I'll send you the link.
Okay. Yeah, I've been
But
looking into it.
Yeah, it looks fucking badass, and it looks like a lot of fun. The combat's already fun, so you need to download it.
Cool.
It has some weird anti-cheat going on that they're taking out, so I'm gonna wait to look at it before.
Gotcha.
Wait till shit gets taken out before I check it out.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be fun. So.
Yeah, cause it's like Breath of the Wild, except not shackled down by Nintendo. So.
Yep, pretty much. I like the way I stopped playing it as soon as I realized I can just climb a tree. I was like, no, this needs to be streamed.
Yeah, I was gonna say yes. The world just opened up, so time to wait. Yeah.
I was just running around collecting stuff, and then there was an apple that was just a little too high. So I like jumped on the tree to try to pick it up in the air, and I clung to the tree. I'm like, wait a second.
It's always a satisfying moment in video games where like you do a thing and you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize I could do that. I saw like 15 more things back there that I could also do that too.
Yeah.
Time to go backtrack.
And like the combat already feels good. There's like a dash that you can do immediately between attacks.
Is like you don't have to unlock the dash or anything.
No, like you just start with a dash. Like the first thing it teaches you is like you walk forward with WSD. By the way, you have a dash. Here it is.
Thank God. That's
It's
one of
not-
the things that makes Odin Sphere so great is that you start out with all those great movement options instead of having to unlock them later.
Yeah, that's great. So the thing about the dash is that it's more like a Bloodborne backdash. When
It's still good.
it's still not bad. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not bad at all. The combat itself feels really smooth too. I was curious why it was 110 gigs, or it was something like that. It was something crazy. And I'm just like, the fuck is it like? Because you can get it on your phone too, which I have it downloaded on my phone. And I'm like downloading it on my PC. I'm like, why is it so massive? It's like 10 gigs probably or something.
I'll look it up just to see.
But yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It looks really pretty. The cinematics
something
are
else?
cool. Maybe
Oh, the beta version is only 5 gigs.
I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna go. Proper it is
So,
13
like
gigs.
Titanfall
That's
2,
not
the Titanfall 2 is like 125 gigs or something
You
like
said
that.
100 gigs. Fucking
Yeah.
Wars,
That's EA
COD.
or whatever.
the fucking new COD is like 200.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, 13 gigs. Still, like I was just not expecting a phone game to be like that massive.
Well, it's an MMO. Is the thing.
It's from what I've been told, it's like a mini MMO. It's not quite an MMO, but
I think I heard somebody talking about it has like mostly single player stuff going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
it has. You can do multiplayer in dungeons, and I think that's about it.
You also get cross save between your mobile and your PC.
Nice.
Which I'm excited for this game, so I'm gonna be playing the shit out of it. But that's about all I did this week. I drove, played some video games. I'm excited for the stories updates, and that's about it.
Sick.
Yeah. What about you, Derek?
I'm gonna do my week fast because I want to go get fucking breakfast, and it's 4
Okay.
p.m. I bought a bunch of shit and tried
Yep.
to fix, or not fix, but upgrade my guitar. And
How did that go?
well, last night I was taking apart my guitar, and that went okay until I found out that the pickups so I bought new pickups on Amazon, just cheapies. They were supposed to be here last night, and I was supposed to be able to do all this shit last night. Unfortunately, they didn't get here until this morning, so I had to just take apart my guitar and be like, "Welp," and then so that fucking sucked. And then on top of that, my computer, like my video card, just crashed, and so my stream died, and like everything just died, and it sucked. So I went to bed.
Yeah.
Woke up, pickups were here this morning, and then so I started up my stream again. So basically, I went stream, sleep, wake up, stream, and I got all the electronics done. I have a huge fucking blister on my finger now because I accidentally touched my soldering iron, so that sucks.
Yeah.
It's like legit like an inch long or two. And probably like an inch and a quarter.
sucks.
Yeah. Luckily it doesn't hurt, but we'll see how long
That's
that
good.
lasts.
It's just kind of aggravating.
Yeah, but all the electronics work now. I'm just trying to get all the like jacks and pots back in the right fucking positions, and like there's literally one that I can't use my fingers for, and it is just not coming back through the hole because there's no like there's no access to the to the cavity. It's just through like the little holes in the front of the guitar,
Gotcha.
and it's just the fucking worst. So that's infuriating. And then I'm going to work after this, and I don't get off work until like 2 a.m. So
Fun times.
yeah.
If only you were some sort of streamer, then you wouldn't have to go to work until 2.
You are an asshole, Deshaun.
I was a streamer. You know how much money I made? 0.
0. Hey man, you'd make money eventually.
That's not even close to true. That
You never
is
know.
a fool's hope.
You might get some. Here's the deal, dude. I think there's a billionaire somewhere out there. Just look for somebody to dump money all over. You know, that could be you.
It could be, but I don't have the tits.
Hey man, billionaires are into weird shit. You might not need the tits.
That's true. Yeah, that's basically been my week. I played a lot of ARAM this week. Just fucking bashed out ARAM like a motherfucker. Yeah, that's it. Let's get on to Stadia 2 shit. I haven't heard.
All right. Hold on. Let me open it up in the fucking. I had the. So Amazon announces Stadia 2, aka where the fuck is it? Damn, I have a fucking bunch of news stories open. Hold on.
Look at all this porn I have.
That too. Hold on.
Of course. You
Just
always
Google
gotta
it.
have both your
It's called
interests open at all
the.
times.
It's like the Amazon Luna or something like that. Yeah. So basically, it's another game streaming thing that now Amazon is trying to do because apparently they didn't learn their lesson from Google. But I'm sure this will probably work a little bit better simply because everybody saw how Google botched it.
I think if you
but I
put
doubt-
only single player games on it, it might be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's because I think Xbox is looking into doing this shit too.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I think
Nvidia
you already can.
Yeah,
Xbox
the X
already
Cloud.
can.
Yeah, the X Cloud.
Yep.
Whatever.
Well, the other thing too is that Steam already does this.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
It's just remote play, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
But Amazon's trying to do it remote play through their own services.
Yeah,
rather than
basically.
Yeah,
They're-
that's like
they're
the
not-
only.
Yeah, everybody wants to have a proprietary, like their own proprietary version of it, so they can make money off of it instead of just doing everything through Steam or Microsoft.
I mean, to be fair, that is where you make the most money. Is
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
all the software instead of the hardware.
Oh.
But like, I don't know. I just don't.
They're also selling a controller to go with this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like $50.
Like, I'm reading the like Amazon price thing right now. Why is unlimited hours of play a selling point? Like, I understand that like Stadia.
Does Stadia have limited
Yeah,
hours?
Stadia did one that was like a lot cheaper, and you only get like 10 hours a week or something. But like,
That's stupid.
that should not be a selling point.
No, it's not.
Well, it's because of shit like School Stadia where they're making you, charge for it. So, but they make you pay more for more time. So they're like, you get as much time as you want. Like that. It's like when somebody else fucks up somewhere, other companies see that fuck up and then try to jump on that and be like, we're gonna use that as a positive thing for us, even though it should just be basic as fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the issue that I have with all these things is that like this is very obviously gaming for people who don't game.
Yeah.
Because like if you game, like it doesn't matter what what kind of game you play. A lot of times you're gonna have games that you want to come back to, and like if you stop paying for this, you're just lost all access.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. Also, they have 2 Point
Sucks.
Hospital on this, and that shit is impossible to play with the controller. Just FYI. For anyone who listens to this and thinks like, oh, I'm gonna play 2 Point Hospital on this fucking controller, good luck. At me on Twitter if you can.
They also it also says they'll stream up to 1080p at 60 frames per second with 4K support. Teasers coming soon, which is like, all right, so your system isn't even good enough to play like the modern consoles that are about to come out. You know, like I don't know, and it's like old games and shit. Like I think the newest game coming to will be Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, you know, ain't looking too hot. It'll probably sell well, but not on this fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't know. They got your baby control.
Yeah. I would like to see like a gaming streaming service like the Netflix of games be like a real thing, but these companies are trying, or like they're trying everything they can to not just make it, you know, you pay a subscription service and you just stream the fucking game and that's it. You know, they're trying to add all this extra shit and they're trying to market it some weird way instead of it just being, hey, stream this game to your thing, you know.
Like, honestly, the only one that I would even consider paying for is Steam.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't. But that'd be the one that I would think of. Because, like, every fucking game known to man is either on Steam or will come to Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is
I
the
also
fucking
think that's why
taxes
everyone's
of
trying
video
to
games.
create a competitor to it.
Yeah, like, I think as soon as Steam whips its, like, fucking huge-ass dong out, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Just gonna drop a stack of money, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, right, you're superior."
Right.
Well, it's like, and they already have the infrastructure to do this shit because of Steam Broadcasting. Like, they already know how to handle this shit. Like, Steam Broadcasting isn't the best, but it's, like, the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, fuck. Like, I'm just waiting for Steam to do it.
Yep.
Because I bet you when Steam does it, it'll just be fucking perfect. It'll just be exactly what you want, you know, and it
Yeah.
won't be an issue.
I wonder if they'll just make you buy your own server, basically. A one-time fee, buy your own server, and you can just remote play off that server.
There's no fucking way.
Not a
No,
one-time
there's-
fee. That'd be insane.
Yeah. I could see them, like, doing it, like, basically on the cheap. But, like,
Yeah.
no
Oh, yeah.
fucking way.
You know how they have that like whole subscription service to make your name glow gold and whatnot? They'll just tack it onto that and be like, "Look, you have your own server to play on as long as you pay for this subscription."
Like,
I-
like a sub thing, I can totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're I don't know. Just this is the future is happening, and it's happening really fucking like choppily, and it's being fucked up by corporations who are just trying to get extra buck.
There's a lot of people tripping over themselves.
Yeah,
as
like
the
it's
future is coming.
instead of like everybody kind of like easing their way into it, they're trying to like force it down our throats.
You know, it's like the future is here, and there's a lot of people trying to stop the future.
Yeah. Or try to profit off it instead of
Like,
like all these are coming out, but they're not like it's from people who don't have expertise in fucking video games, you know, aside from like Nvidia and Microsoft, and even they aren't, you know, really trying that hard with this. Fucking Google and Amazon putting this shit out when they're barely anything, like when you know, they have no real right to be doing it. Like I know Amazon started like a video game studio or whatever, but has anyone even heard anything coming out of that studio at all? Like they don't have like the clout, I guess, to be putting something out like this. Like I think if they had put out like some games first and they kind of had a solid like Amazon video gaming side, I'd be a little more confident in this. But for right now, this just looks like essentially the same thing as Google, just being like, we're jumping in the video game shit too, you know.
I mean, at least Amazon had a little precursor with Twitch and everything, where they're trying to at least understand it.
They're at least integrated with Twitch, so they can at least claim like, hey, we like video games too.
That's like the only reason I think this might do mildly better.
Yeah.
But like, I still don't like, and like I'm doing like I'm reading the FAQ at the bottom, and like the $5.99 price that is on the thing right now is only for the early access price.
That's right. Yeah, because they did say they'd like up it later or some shit like that.
Oh my god! Like, I'm done. Okay, like I don't want to talk about this anymore. Move on to Tokyo Game Show. No one cares. Cool, we're done. Like
The TGS show was kind of bad this year. I couldn't follow fucking.
Wasn't great. It was not like You know, okay, so point of interest, Phantasy Star Online, whatever it's called, looks cool. Gonna play it. Dan, looks fun.
I tried to follow some of the Capcom stuff, but like every like schedule I saw was for some fucked up time zone or some shit that and they were half of them were wrong. First of all, from these fucking news sites, because they would put in like their time zone, but it would be wrong because whoever did it didn't realize that, you know, AM and PM happened or what the fuck. Like,
And there
ridiculous. I was having just a hard time following TGS shit.
Also, why didn't they have any pre-recorded, what's it called? Anything.
Yeah, like it was like all live.
It's like, I would have preferred live subtitling versus live commentating over what they were saying.
It was painful. I was kind of looking forward to TGS because, you know, there was
Usually
like
some cool shit.
Yeah, like there's usually exciting stuff, but this year was like, I think the most exciting thing for me this year was Kunimitsu being announced for Tekken 7. But we already knew that was happening. Cool. I knew that was happening back when they showed the tease to the character like 2 months ago. You know. Mm-hmm. Also, Elden Ring continues to be a ghost. You know, and it's getting to the point where other people who are like still hopeful for it coming out are like, it's kind of weird that we haven't heard shit about this game in more than a year.
Speaking as someone who waited on Kingdom Hearts 3, just give up.
Just give up.
Just give up.
But you literally got your game too.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm telling you. Just give up.
Anyway. Look, man. Even when you do get it, it won't be worth it. Just give up.
Yeah, just give up.
So like,
it's not worth it.
It's not going to be as good as Demon's Souls, and that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, because the Demon's Souls shit's setting a fucking massive bar now.
It looks so nice. I'm just scared it's not going to play good.
I mean, we'll see. It's not like Demon's
Or
Souls.
maybe it plays too good.
It's not like Demon's Souls really played great either, so.
Yeah.
It played well enough, but it wasn't like great.
It played well enough. At some point, you just give up on locking onto anything because the camera fucks up.
Yeah. So yeah, I was wondering, like, I bet like people are gonna bitch and complain, like they'll like tighten up the controls and make it actually play well. People will bitch about that it doesn't play like Demon's Souls, so it sucks.
It sucks because it actually plays well.
Yeah. We made the game good, guys. Fuck you!
Why you make it good? This isn't what I want. I didn't want a remaster. I didn't want a remake. I wanted a remaster.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
I wanted it to be the same bullshit.
I mean, I still like farming for grass and then just having infinite healing items. That was nice. If you died, it's your fault.
Yeah, Elden Ring is you know what? What was that game that Platinum was making for Microsoft? Dragons something.
Dogma.
No. It had like that not Nero guy.
Was it? Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh yeah, it might have been.
It was like something dragons, dragon something. Like the dude had like a pet dragon, and you wore like headphones or whatever, and it was like an action game. Can't remember what it was called, but that was in a better situation than Elden Ring, because at least that one got like a gameplay it had like a gameplay demo, you know, and it had you know, a trailer that showed gameplay footage of other stuff we were going to be doing, and then that game still got canceled. You know, Elden Ring hasn't had shit, and it hasn't had shit since like that first trailer and like one Instagram post.
What if they're having? What if they're having issues deciding whether they want to make it more like Sekiro or more like Souls games?
I guarantee you it's gonna have a bunch of Sekiro elements. Because Sekiro feels like one of those games where you're just kind of testing shit out.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, well, we want to make a game, but we also don't want to go too crazy on it. We want to try some stuff out for the bigger thing we're gonna be making later. You know. Because Elden Ring, they've already talked about how it's gonna have like
open world horse riding. And
shit. Like mounted combat and shit. So, you know, it's definitely going to be bigger, but you could show us something if it still exists, you know? Like, when you get to this point, it starts really seeming like the game ain't coming out.
Yeah, sadly.
This is like those Kickstarter games that you get announced and then you never hear from them again.
and they run with the money, except they're
They
just
run
losing
with the
money.
money, or they're like they shut up and jam Gaiden 2 people, where the guy just kind of went crazy and stopped paying people and then disappeared. Or
Okay, then.
or that drift stage game where the exact
He
same
got
thing
he got
happened.
he got caught simping too hard. All the money went to simping.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
All right, well, that's Tokyo Game Show, kind of a letdown.
Kind of a huge disaster, really.
I
but you
just
know what?
wish they had subtitling instead of a voiceover.
Right, because I was so mad that like I was listening to some IGN stream and the guy, like, his voice was so grating and annoying on my ears.
Was it the guy that says they're laughing about something about Dan, but they're having trouble talking because they're laughing so much? Is it that guy?
Maybe he had like one of those like very like stereotypical like gay man voices you'd hear in like a movie.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
And it was like he kept fucking up, and it was just super annoying.
Then yes, I think it was the same guy.
Yeah, it was probably the same guy. It was
Because I just remember that moment that really irritated me. He just stopped talking. He goes, "They're laughing too much to talk, so I can't figure out what they're trying to say." I'm like, why can't I just have subtitles?
yeah, like,
just
can't
in
you like, I get wanting to do big live stream things in the age of the pandemic and shit to show like, hey, even though the pandemic's kind of hitting us, we're still able to work and shit. But like, just show us a pre-recorded thing. Like, I know Tokyo Game Show is trying to be like a show, you know, have live people, but we're in a situation where you can kind of just put out recorded shit and then, you know, people.
I mean,
take it from there.
I was gonna say, put out the recorded thing talking about it live, and then have like a debriefing of what you got seen or something like. I don't know.
Like just the way they kind of did it was just kind of like sloppy and it's just, you know, I wonder if it was more organized if you were actually in Japan or something and it was like easier to, you know, tell what the fuck was going on. But like this, like trying to get the stuff here, it's like I could barely find streams, I could barely find information. Most of the information I got was from like articles afterwards about TGS, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I mean. Anyway, I want to talk about the Tekken thing real quick. Kunimitsu got announced. Whatever. They're working on their rollback.
They're working on the rollback.
Yay! Harada went from barely talking about it at all to like pushing other fighting game developers out of the way so you could hear him talking about it.
Oh, you know what else we should talk about? Virtual Fighter.
What about Virtua Fighter?
It may be a thing.
Yeah, but who cares?
Okay, well, fuck you. Never.
Derek, do you care about Virtua Fighter at all?
I'm part of this podcast.
See, there you go. No one cares about Virtua Fighter, Cameron.
Okay.
I'll care when it's out and has rollback. And that's
Right.
the end all be all.
It's a dead game, a lot like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, but you know what? Fuck you. Marvel's never dead.
To people who keep dragging its corpse out of the ground and fucking smacking it with
You know
sticks.
what? Fucking, if it has 1 HP, it's still technically alive.
But it's dying though.
I mean, it may be poisoned. You may have to revive it every 5 seconds in order to get back to the Pokemon Center. But you know what? It's okay.
Well, I mean, if it's already dead, you don't bother reviving it to get it to the Pokemon Center. You just take it to the Pokemon Center.
If it's dead,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just bury it.
If it's dead. Well, I mean, if it's a Pokemon.
If
Yeah.
it's dead, you just
Pokemon?
bury it.
Well, if can you eat Pokemon? Like, if a Pokemon dies, can you just be like, all right, well, I guess we got dinner?
Yeah. There's like this. It was a Tumblr post like years ago, but it was like, so you know how we never see any normal like animals. So they eat meat a lot.
They got to, yeah. I thought about that as a kid. Like, what do like the Pidgeys and shit eat? Like, what? Like, they don't like if they're like birds. I'm sure they eat like fruits and shit, but they must also hunt like
There
Pidgeot
was-
is a big ass giant bird, so surely it hunts like small rodent creatures or something.
There was one type of Pokemon that doesn't show up, and that's what they eat, isn't there? No.
All I know is that there's a scene where they eat fried Magikarp because that's the only thing that makes sense.
I remember the anime having like, for like the first few episodes of the anime had like regular animals for a little bit. Like you could see regular birds and shit in the background.
Yeah.
That's what they eat. That's what they eat.
but
Regular animals.
that fucking disappears as the series goes on, right? So it's like
They just eat plant-based. It's a full vegetarian world.
It's not though. They eat
it's
meat.
not though. It's literally not though. Yeah.
You know what? Plants grow meat. You know, Venusaur is a plant.
I mean, but it's not like a plant. It's like just a.
So yeah, some of the plants in the world just happen to be trees like Sudowoodo, and you just cut it down and you eat the meat. It's a plant.
I just need to not be part of this anymore.
Yeah, what would happen if well, Sudowoodo just looks like a tree, right? So surely if you fucking cut it open, it has meat and intestines inside.
I'm pretty sure it has meat and intestines.
It has to.
Yeah.
What's something I wouldn't like a electrode or some shit or like
A ditto.
What is a ditto made out of? Would ditto just be meat as well? What's underneath the heads?
Splooge.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's just like the outside. It constantly excretes like muck. Constantly excretes poison.
How would you
But
eat-
on
how
the
would you- yeah, what about muck? What is a muck made out of? Is it
on the inside, it's like a small little piece of muscle
It's like one little tiny piece of muscle.
that constantly excretes just a shit ton of.
Or like that garbage Pokemon. Like what about that? Like did it evolve to just look like garbage, or is it like living garbage? Can you cut it open and find like soda cans and shit? Pokemon are fucking horrible creatures.
That world is scary.
It's scary when you think about like the fact that one day like a monster might just fly over your city and blow it the fuck up because you know you
It
guys
just can.
the mayor of your town stole like a magical jewel from it. You know.
Yeah. Or one of the professors in your world is just like, oh yeah, I discovered an unknown today.
Right.
Entei just killed us all.
Right. Turn our whole town into a fucking horrible, horrific wonderland.
Professor finds unknown. Fire Force happens.
Oh my god. That fucking Entei movie is super underrated, I think.
I think it is. It's so good.
It's freaky. It's definitely, I think, the freakiest of them all because it's about like a child's like weird, like Alice in Wonderland ass shit.
Yeah, and her dad becomes a fucking legendary Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's how I want my dad to go.
Turns into a Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's what Detective Pikachu was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he didn't die.
Yeah, he died. He got like it was like an experiment or whatever, wasn't there? I never saw the movie because
I didn't.
No, Mewtwo chucks Ryan Reynolds into a Pikachu to save his body, I guess.
Gotcha.
Like, to save his consciousness, I guess. I don't know, whatever, fuck it. I'm too tired for this shit.
Alright, where can we find you, Derek?
Game in second. Watch me on Twitch, fucking rage at my guitars.
Go get some breakfast. Where can we find you, Deshaun?
you can find me on Twitch at Super Urban Buddha and YouTube and Twitter at Mr. Urban Buddha.
You can find me at I Press the Buttons on YouTube and Twitch, and then IPT Buttons on Twitter. You guys all take care. And as always, laugh at yourself and question what Pokemon are made of.
Would you eat your father?